Bus come up here to Weber today, and the bus driver says, I was at the protest yesterday. I was driving one of the electric buses. He says, God, man, sit by me. I want to talk to you. What a great conversation. He says, no, you're right. There's no bus out west. We've been complaining for years. Everybody has. I says, yeah, there's no bus lane or bike lane. There's no sidewalk. There's no bus. And I says, there's two famous in their 70s guys out there. Everybody knows them because they ride their bikes everywhere. My neighbor, they were both killed this month. Him and Roy, he's a Japanese descent. He's a gem. I love that guy. He was hit, girl ran the thing, and then two more cars ran him over before and they're both careful. They both have the flashers on their helmets, everything. So I can't ride my bike. But let's get to the bigger news. So the bigger news, so I always use those burns because that's what the reactors look like. So this is the fraud of the media. The media early this morning I saw, and I'll post the link, Ukraine, the big Z, dodges, narrowly avoids nuclear disaster. Oh, it's all back on. It's all back on. 10 minutes later, Yahoo's reporting, no, it's not back on. All 6 reactors are still offline. Now, if all 6 reactors are emergently whacked offline, we call those scrams in the nuclear industry. You can't just unplug them. It's a slow, long process to undo them. Because we get what we call a scram situation. It throws freaking so much energy back into the core that the cores can blow up or melt down. Now, the fires, they report it as coal ash. Now, why was there coal ash at no. People don't know. People don't know. I lost my leukemia bracelet, my survivor bracelet. Yep. So I got to get another one. I'll get one, maybe. Remember when So, anyway, the ash they use in cement, the ash is nuclear waste byproduct. And then we wonder why everybody gets cancer that finishes cement or plaster. It's in everything and anything. But do I believe them that this is coal ash on fire? Oh, hell no. Hell no. I don't believe one word. And if you believe one word, any of them tell you, you're a fool. Just did Reuters, did BBC, did NBC, did CBS, did KSL from hell here in Utah? Did any of them ever report Fukushima? It's like the protest yesterday. The only reason I was the only one there yesterday is because that's why they did the ceremony instead of doing it on Monday when school's in, because there's plenty of young people that would have protested. I will quote the young man right after the protest walked up to me. One of the national champion cheerleaders said to me, Kevin, you know the motto around here with us young guys? I said, what's that? He says, Weber State will spend money on anything and everything except for their students. Well, you got that right. So that's where I learned from the great zoologist, one of the great professors in the history of the country when I was 16, 17. I learned when my dad got nuked in the Nevada test site. This was Utah. We knew what the downwinders, we knew what southern Utah was. We all knew to stay out. So, is there an incident? I like how they call it, just shelling going on inside a nuclear plant. And people just talk about the cores. It's way more than the cores. It's way more than the cores. Spent fuel, there's more spent fuel there. Uranium-238 from the Earth, they take uranium-238 and they centrifuge it, they gas it, they hex it before it goes into a nuclear. One of the nastiest processes in the history of the world. Oh, it's disturbing, disgusting. It creates something called free radicals. What's a free radical? Plutonium, for one, will kill you dead. Plutonium. So I'm coming up with a new name for the energy coming off the big Z. Plutonium, zutonium. So we're going to call it, you name it after Putin, PUtonium, but that's already taken, right? Putin, plutonium. There it is. So I'm going to call it plutonium. Sugar wars, molasses wars, textile wars, cocaine cowboys, plutonium wars. I own that domain, and I got no funding. I got no support anymore because everybody is so dogma reinforced political. They're so on their knees for Trumpism. They're so on their knees for Obamacairism. They think everything's political when they're identical pro-nuclear. How can you be? So they're all butthurt, and everybody's fled from me because they're going to, on the right, this is self-fulfilling prophecy. They're going to see American manufactured Jesus. And the left, they're elitist because mommy said they were smart. By the way, when I went to college all those years, it didn't cost that much. So, I worked my way through college. So do my kids. The forgiveness, I'm all for it. 10,000, what good's that going to do you? I went to Berkeley for a little while. It was free. So the average student at a major university, they get out to a graduate year, they got maybe 500,000 in freaking student debt. So here's a it's a nothing burger. It's what they do. Here, we'll throw you a bone. They don't throw me a bone. I don't want their fucking bones. And anybody who got a fucking PPP loan and they're calling themselves free market's a fraud. You're a socialist by definition. Which is one of the greatest rips off. And this war did not cause inflation. When they dump $11.5 trillion on the economy, Uncle Trump, Socialist Trump are in more freaking debt than in 4 years than any president Obama or Dumber did in 8 years, which Obama or Dumber and Trump, between the two of them, are in more debt than the previous 43 presidents before them? Combined. So these are all, that's all the nuclear industry. Every name around here is the nuclear industry. Dumpke is married to the Wattises, and none of them have lived here in 40, 50 years. They all live in the Bay Area, and then we wonder why we can't win a game. None of them have lived here. But they still bow to their money. That's the problem. When state universities started taking money to name buildings, and here, we'll donate a bunch of money. And I remember in the 60s, 70s, people were like, oh, hell no, we're not taking your money, because then it's a natural that we'll start migrating towards that money, to your agenda, which is exactly what happened. Because these are state universities, they don't need private funding. They're funded by the taxpayers. The taxpayer of the state of Utah funds this. All lock, stock. Who are the highest paid guys in all 50 states? The sports coaches. You know who pays them? The NCAA? Oh no. You, the taxpayer. I mean, these guys are making millions of dollars a year as these coaches, and the players don't make anything. Oh, we're going to let them sell their... So what, one superstar at Alabama can freaking get rich? Why don't you give each one of them a stipe equally across the board? Just a food stipe. A decent one. But, no. Nope. So it's a sham. The country's a sham right now. They're not going to do anything. Again, sure ain't going to do anything for Kevin Lunch. They hate me in this county. 7th generation, everything that I've donated and done for this university, for this community, my whole life, I've gave myself away and gave myself away. They hate me. They truly hate me in this county. Well, this university, nobody will do anything for me. I just do all their work, and I'm a fool to do all the dirty work. So, but like my cancer psychologist says, Kevin, you're given 2 months to live. If you weren't in the perfect right place, right time, Vincent Hansen, Fimble Peterson, Dr. Connors. God, I hope I was nice to you when you was a kid, Ogden High boy, because I coached youth athletics in this town forever, and all these kids all know me. Because you better hope I'm going to hold your heart in my hand for 6 hours. I used to say when I was a coach, when I was young, and we had great teams, always be nice to the youth, because they grew up to be men and women very quickly. And he says, no. He didn't answer me till after the surgery came in. No, you were always very respectful for me. I always had a lot of respect for you. Thank goodness. So, PUTonium, I'm going to start calling it. Not plutonium, PUTonium. Putin, Tsar Putin, we want to be repressed. We want this great era that started right there in '98 on the football field, Metallica played at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on the football field, and a lightning storm rain hit, flooded out, and everybody left. An hour and a half, they were sitting in their trailers. They came out and played. Maybe 500 people. I want to say this to everybody that's gone along with this. 1994 baseball strike started with this. To present. That's when this madness started. Contract armor go. Where's Tom Dwight? Where's the moral majority? Dennis Hastert? Where's Dennis Hastert? He's moral. Up is down, black is white, wrong is right. Now where's he? I want to say that. Where's your fucking crown, Blanche? Oh, here we go. Where's your fucking crown? Should we flip the soup can? So the oldest Blanche boy has died. That's a big deal in our world. In Ogden, Utah. The oldest grandson passed. 68. Beela's dead. Sandy was supposed to show up at the library yesterday. She's dying. She wasn't able to make it. There's cancer epidemic. Where's your crown? Where's your crown? Where's your crown? You imperious lovers. I like how they still calling it Euro-Asiaism, and they think they're smart. Mommy said I was smart. Mommy lied to you. That's just a made-up word to try to deflect from the reality. Winter, that is. Imperialism. So they're all off. Scram. When they unplug all those emergency 6 of them, nothing good can come out of that. It's called scrams. Well, what's a scram? They have a surge back into the core. And typically they have to open the cores and vent. If they don't, they'll melt down. Fires, do I believe that it's a coal ash on fire? No. Do I believe maybe there's a Zerk fire? What's a Zerk fire? West Zirconium's right there, by the way. Peterson Fabricators. Remember their container blew up? The Wattis. This is nuclear university, and then you wonder why I'm blackballed. And if you don't think they blackball people at West Weber State University, how about Watt-Massac? I want you to look up Watt-Massac. 2 national championships in basketball at Weber State. First player of color in the history of the NBA. Don't mention his name around here. Why? It's a very good question. Born and raised in Ogden, Utah. His story is so powerful. Fawn McKay. She's ours. First female dean of history in the history of the United States. The greatest female, well, the greatest, maybe historian in history. Weber State. Professor, graduate. Won't mention her name. Kevin Blanche. You act like you don't know why the cancer slowly grows. Sugar wars, molasses wars, textile wars, cocaine cowboys. In Europe, they call it the Civil War. They call it the textile war. Cocaine cowboys. Plutonium wars. Where's your fucking crown, ZAPORIZHIA? I never want to be King Z. How about want to be in Japan? For Japanese PM to be in power more than a year or two is unheard of. They propped him up. The United States put him. The United States 51st island. They're the ones that are running the cover up of Fukushima. So you think the media is going to tell you? You think the media is going to tell you? Did Reuters? Did BBC? Did the EPA? Did Gina McCarthy? No, there was a rat in that dish right there on top of the one lecture. They tore it off. I videoed it, put it on YouTube. They took it down on March 12th. Who told you there were meltdowns at Fukushima and do not believe they're all going to lie? And the only person on Earth, on the face, out of almost 8 billion people, did Reuters, did BBC, did NBC, did CBS, did the EPA, did RadNet, the agencies that are paid to protect us. Did Sheehan here in Utah, the radiation monitoring detection guy here? Did anybody? Did anybody? Did a professor? Did anybody? Did a YouTube vlogger? Did a alternative media? No, Kevin Blanche did. These are meltdowns, do not believe them. It's probably the most historic video in human history. The most historic PhD in human history. And I gotta raid the bus. With no sidewalk, with no nothing. We got electric bus system here. Huh. Jesus done left Chicago. Headed to New Orleans. Oh, really? Have mercy. Been waiting for the bus all day. Stay tuned.